and tell the story of how I've overcome.
Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Dai'Vine's Realm and I'm Dai'Vine. Today we will be talking about my testimony. I did a poll a while back seeing what people wanted as, you know, the first video to start off the channel, and a lot of people wanted my testimony. So I will be giving a trigger warning because we are going to get into some deep stuff. I know, first video, but you know, lay it all out bare. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so my story takes place September 7th, 2009. A beautiful girl named Divine Trinity Nicole Ross was born, and that is I. 2 months later, after I was born, my mom passed away on my aunt's birthday. I don't have much recollection of it or anything, so my memory really starts taking place about 5-6 years old. My dad got married to my stepmom, and at first everything was cool, it was fine. It was just like a little dream come true, you know. Was what it was. Around 7 years old, things started happening that shouldn't have. You see, my mom brought 4 boys into the relationship. My dad brought 3 children, 2 girls, a boy. I have 17 siblings, but as the younger 3, I mean, because we were the last 3 that were young on my dad's side, that is. And so it was just a combined household. And around 7 years old, I started getting stuff like that. And so was my sister. We both have 2 different recollections and stories of how everything took place, but that part of my life went on for about 5 years straight, from when I was 7 up until I was the age of 11. Everything stopped when I, you know, started getting my womanly appearances, and, you know, Miss Flo came. Then everything was just hard for me. I was just trying to take it all in. Like, the home life was tough. Love my dad dearly, but I mean, there was a lot of fighting, you know. Grew up in a lot of violence, a lot of fighting, a lot of arguing. Used to get kicked out a lot. I mean, we had nowhere to go, just finding places, you know, it was just a lot for young children to have to go through at any age. No one should ever have to go through that, ever. Just really chaotic household. There was just too much going on, you know. Growing up with parents that are too busy worried, fighting each other, arguing with each other, I mean, it takes a big mental toll on you. Then, you know, me and my sister, sometimes we'd go stay with my brother for a while, help him take care of his kids. He had like 7 kids of his own. Him and his girlfriend, they, you know, so many children. My brother, he was strung out, and the girlfriend was just kind of doing her own thing, so we kind of stepped in to help take care of the kids, all while still going to school ourselves. So, you know, we'd wake up, get the kids ready for school, stuff like that, get ourselves ready, go to school, stuff like that. And our school was like not even down the street from his house. Like, it was down the street from our house, but it was like that, like 2 seconds away from his house. So it was closer, but it was just too much for kids to be going through. No one should have to go through that, ever. And that was like mainly what most of my life consisted of, just arguing, fighting, violence. And we had our good moments, don't get me wrong. Like, we've had some good moments, but I don't even know. It's like, it can be cool, and then it turns out to not be cool after a while. I don't know how to explain it. It's just one of those family things that just, you know. As I got older and I progressed, you know, my family was the kind of I have a sweep it under the rug kind of family. You know, things don't get talked about. I'm the type of person, I talk about it. I have no problem talking about it. If people stop talking to me over it, I never cared. You know, that's how I am. So today we're just doing a little talk with me, you know, get to know me. And I have talked about it multiple times before. That has never gone well. So I know this time's not going. But it's okay. I don't, it's my truth. It's my story. As I get older, and it was never dealt with, so I just had a lot of built up anger and animosity because of the situations, and I was someone you do not want to be around at all. Like, I was always mad, I was always angry, I was always frustrated. Like, you say one thing to me and I just snapped. That I was like that type of person, and it was really just because of what was going on and what I had going on internally, and the things that I was trying to work through and trying to, I didn't know how to work through it. I was trying to figure it all out on my own. I say about sixth grade, we had finally gotten our own apartment. Me, my dad, and my siblings, we finally got our own apartment. That was the first apartment I had ever, I had any remembrance of having, ever. I know, like, before my mom passed and all that, they've had apartments before that, but since me being born, that, all I knew was that house. I can't even, I don't even go over there anymore. Like, I can't even pass by that house without, all the memories flooding back to me, And it was a mixture of good and bad memories. I learned how to walk, I learned how to talk, I learned how to crawl, I learned how to ride my bike over there. We had, some great memories. I had friends that lived on the street that I spent a lot of my time with. That was my escape place, where I would go in the back of my mind to escape my reality. Anyways, sixth grade, we start the school year off, and progressively I started doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing things I had no business doing. I got a boyfriend, and we know how that goes. But if you don't, if you know, you know. But because of that situation, I ended up getting into some trouble at school, and oh my lord, all these flies and bugs. And because of that, I was exploring sexually. I was messing with boys and girls, and when the situation happened at school, and I got called into the office, and they were asking, okay, so what we're trying to understand is, you've gone from boys to girls, and so on and so forth. That's usually a sign of abuse, SA. So, and I decided to talk about it. Before that, though, I'm jumping way ahead of myself. For some reason, I ended up in a group with a trauma counselor. I have no clue why. It was just a little girls group that, we talk about stuff, learned how to find a safe space in your head to go to. Don't know how I ended up in it, but I did. And, she was like, if you ever have anything you ever want to talk about, share about, just let me know. So after one session, I was like, can I talk to you privately? And she was like, yeah, go ahead. Sure, of course. So, said our goodbyes to the girls, and we sat down and we talked about it. And I just told her about, the abuse and the trauma that I had faced growing up with just multiple different family members, my stepbrothers, a biological brother, cousins, all that stuff, because it was just, there's so much generational trauma and curses in our family that just keep getting passed down because nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to heal from it. You just sweep it under the rug, so it just keeps happening. Because me and my sister weren't the first it happened to. It happened to our sisters before us. It happened to our cousins before us. Just generational. It's a generational type of thing. And, so I was just sitting there, I was kind of pouring it all out. And, it felt good to finally talk to somebody about it, because I used to talk to my friends about it. And if we'd get into it or something, they'd use that against me. So I stopped talking about it to people. I just kept it in. And I had been self-harming myself, and I was really and depressed and all that stuff. I'm filtering words because YouTube and all that stuff. I did not want to be here anymore. I had tried multiple times, never worked. It was just a lot, I was going through a lot mentally. I was in a really bad headspace mentally. It was just too much for me to handle. So I left after that, you know, thinking, okay, this is great. Until I got home. I hadn't realized that she was going to tell my dad. She told my dad, and it became a big thing. You know, I got home, my sister was yelling at me, how could you, why would you say that, da, 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 we're gonna get taken away, blah, blah, blah. Just so much. And it was just a lot. And, you know, me and her got into it over it. And she had went over to my brother's room because our rooms were like right there. And, you know, she was just like talking to her boyfriend saying, oh no, it was Didi's fault, da da da, yada da. So it was just like blame getting placed on me, burdens getting placed on me. I was 7. I'm the youngest out of 17 children. Think about that. The youngest out of 17. Everybody in my family is older than me. My age gap starts from 2 years, and it just builds up from that. Like now, I'm turning 17. Everybody else in my family, all my siblings, they're grown now. Every last one of them are grown. I'm on my way. But it was just a lot, especially hearing that mentally from the same person that endured all of it with you. I'm not going to go into specific details, but like when I say she was with me when all this happened, I mean we were hip and hip type situations. Unless she left to go to our friend's house or I left to go to my granny's house. My granny's house was my safe place. That's where I could go to get away from it because it was nothing but women in the household. And I've learned that, like, I'm very comfortable around women to a certain extent, but with men it's just you know, but it's understandable. So, you know, that became a big deal. And then my school situation happened, and, you know, they were asking about it because we hadn't talked to the principal about it. So I told the principal about one of them, just not all of them. And, you know, my dad got a phone call about that as well, on top of the phone call about the situation. And, you know, I was going to end up having to go to Children's Mercy because trauma counsel came in. She did an evaluation on me, and it was a really embarrassing moment to go through, especially as, you know, a preteen. And it was just like, you know, it's just like you just want to turn invisible type of situation. I got back home, and, you know, everybody in my family knew about it. I have my aunt calling, my granny calling me, you know, telling me, oh, I don't think anything different of you, stuff like that. And it was just a lot. And the situation happened. We lived in Missouri. So at the time of when the abuse was taking place, we lived in KCK. Got our first apartment, moved to Missouri. Like, we lived all over. Lived in Shawnee for a little bit with my dad's lady friend, and my godbrother moved in with us, and he had children and stepchildren and all that stuff, and they stayed with us. And things happened to me then as well, and it was just a lot. I was exposed to a lot early on in life that I shouldn't have been exposed to. Like, I felt like my sole existence in that moment was to be used for that purpose, because that's all I knew. And now I can sit here and I can talk about it, and it still eats at me sometimes. But I have gone to the point where I can talk about it, not shed tears, not cry, because it's something in my past. It's something that happened to me, but it didn't define who I am, you know? And some stuff happened. My siblings got into, like, we had a big old family brawl, and I ended up moving in with my aunt. My sister on my mom's side, so I have 5 siblings on my mom's side, and the rest are from my dad. So in total I have 17. So my sister on my mom's side, she already lived with my aunt. You know, my aunt passed, and their dads weren't really there, so they moved in with my aunt and my granny. So she's living with my aunt, I move in with my aunt, and I'm still battling with the things I have going on. I'm still doing things I shouldn't be doing, meeting up with people I shouldn't be meeting up with, still harming myself, still in that bad headspace mentally. I didn't know how I was going to get out of it. Like, I was struggling so bad with, like, just not wanting to be alive anymore, and I just didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't have anyone I could talk to, didn't have anyone I could vent to, so it was just a lot. Well, my sister, she was in church at the time. You know, she was on the verge of getting married. She was engaged. and she invited us to her church. And so I was just like, why not? Let's go explore, see what this is like. We got to buy a dress and all that stuff. We go, and I'm like, okay. It was a morning service. I'm like, okay, this is cool. She invited, she asked if I wanted to come back later that night. So no, I'm okay. Just, we grew up Kojic at first. So now my sister my sister went to an apostolic Pentecostal church. But we grew up Kojic, which is Church of God in Christ. And we had been Kojic our life. Like, that's all we knew. But, like, a couple of months passed and all that stuff. I'm just doing my thing. It was a Tuesday, and my sister invited me to church. I didn't go. That night, she ended up getting married. I said, oh my gosh, I should have went. But I wanted to hang out with my friend, so that's what I did. I just thought of congratulations. And a little while later, in like October, so she got married in August. Time had passed. I had turned 13. Got invited back in October, and I was like, sure. You know what? Why not? Why not? So I go. Morning service. It's nice. It's cool, as it was before. And then she was like, hey, you want to come back for night service? And I'm just like, I have nothing better to do. Why not? Let's go. And night service completely different from morning service. I was like, oh, this is more up. Okay, people started shouting, and if you're Pentecostal, So as a person witnessing this for the first time, I was just like, oh, these people are crazy. Like, what is wrong with these people? What is going on? So time goes on, service is moving forward. It was like a shout out kind of service. The music starts slowing down. It's like altar call type of moment. The music starts slowing down. Singing is beautiful. And I just, the tears start falling from my eyes. I have always been a person where I always felt like something different about me, like God-wise. I don't know how to explain it. I couldn't explain it to you, even if I wanted to. Like, I just don't know. Everything about me, like, I loved my gospel music. I loved my Tyler Perry plays that had, all to do about God and da-da-da-da. Like, that was me. I've always felt outcasted differently, Seems why. But, after I lost my train of thought, I can't even lie to you. Oh, yeah. The music was slowing down. Tears start falling from my eyes. I'm just bawling. I closed my eyes. I started praying. I started praying for my family. I started praying for me. Like, the tears are just flowing. And then, I feel a hand on my head. And someone's praying for me. I get pulled up. Somebody picks me up, pulls me up, walks me to the front. I'm in the front. I'm praying, and people start laying hands on me and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, child, it is hot. But I'm in the spirit. I'm praying. I hear my sister in my ear. And I end up speaking in tongues. I got the Holy Ghost. And it was like a new experience for me. I've never had this happen before. Because growing up Kojic, I've only heard like one person speak in tongues. And that was my granny. And that was only once in my life. I can't lie. So, after service, people were talking to me. They're like, hey, the pastor comes up to me. He's like, do you want to get baptized? I was like, yeah. I've been wanting to get baptized for a while. Yeah, let's do it. And it's true. I had been wanting to get baptized for a while. Like, my cousin, she got baptized by my uncle. And he was like, if anybody else wants to come get baptized, get baptized. I didn't go up. I was nervous. But it was like, I do want to get baptized. So, I was like, yay, I finally get to get baptized. And I used to be so, like, anxious. I used to do this thing when I was nervous where I would just, like, do this against my bottom, like my chin. I don't know. I have stopped doing that since. But he was like, okay, well, come back Tuesday. We'll get you baptized. We'll get you a Bible study. We'll get you baptized. All that stuff. All that, I'm like, okay, great. So Tuesday rolls around. Okay, I got the Holy Ghost October 2nd. I had forgotten, so I just said October 4th because October 4th was the day I got baptized. But it's October 2nd. So October 4th comes around, it's Tuesday, and I had invited people to come watch me get baptized. My dad didn't show up. Go figure. Love you, Dad. If you're watching this, I love you. But go figure. And I don't know. So I'm there. They take me out. We have service is going on, and then they take me upstairs. No, take me to the bathroom, get me all changed and stuff like that. And then we go upstairs. I get my Bible study from who was going to end up being my favorite brother Tyson and sister Jennifer. Oh, did I name drop? Am I supposed to name drop? And anyways, so I do that, and I get the Bible study. They're asking me, do I understand? I'm like, yeah, I understand. And then it's go time. So I'm going, my aunt's here, my granny's here, they're recording, I'm going up. Oh my Jesus, that water was cold. They told me that the baptismal heater was working. It most definitely was not. That water was so cold, I was literally shaking. But I'm in there, and I'm like, okay, this is it. I get baptized, and I just come up, I feel so new, so clean, so I don't even know, so joyous. There was like an overwhelming sense of joy and peace washed over me. I don't know how to explain it. So then I get back changed, I go, and I'm into it. I went on my first youth trip. My sister's like, okay, well, you don't have to dress like them just because, I was the type of person, I plunged into it, the dresses, the skirts. I mean, I was already a girly girl. I loved wearing dresses, I loved wearing skirts and stuff like that. The long sleeves, like I went headfirst into it, dove headfirst into it. So time goes on, the honeymoon phase starts to sit a little bit, and reality hits me again. And I went through repeated cycles. I can't lie, there's still some cycles that I'm still repeating and going through, and that's when it hit me, this is a journey. This is a journey. You've been through a lot of stuff that's not going to just change overnight, but you have to make steps towards the change. And my pastor and first lady can tell you, oh baby, it was a struggle. We was going through it. I mean, I'm still doing my thing, and I shouldn't have been. But, time goes on. I get myself into another situation. This situation, I ended up going to a mental hospital afterwards, And I spent some time in there. It was okay, I got 2 visits. I don't know, being in there, it just made me feel even lonelier. I don't know, because you can't call people when you want to, you can't have your phone, none of that, so I was just like, I didn't know how to explain it. Anyways, time goes on, same repeated cycle, then Miss Pamela walks into my life. And she is my first lady's sister. First time I met her, didn't know her. It was during choir workshop. I didn't know her. She was asked. My first lady asked her if she could take me and my friend Katina home. She said, of course. So we dropped Katina off, and then it was just me and her in the car. And I'm like, this person I don't know. This is a stranger. I'm nervous. I know this. But we get to talking. She starts talking about music and all that stuff. And I don't know, just somehow a bond builds over time. And she became my little road dog. She had a similar situation to I did growing up, so we kind of bonded over that too. She was like a safe place for me. And I don't know. I just clung to her all the time. But really sealed the deal for me was I was having a really rough time mentally. I didn't want to be alive anymore, the usual. And I was texting her, and then she had just stopped texting, randomly out of the blue, stopped texting for a good 5 minutes. And I was just like, oh, she probably went to sleep. Yeah, still dealing with it on my own. Then she texted me and said, come outside. I went out, I looked out my window, she was outside, and she just sat there and talked to me. So that was really what I needed more than anything, was just someone that I could talk to, that I could vent to, you know, get everything situated with, you know. And she was that person. We had late night car talks all the time, where we just sit in the car and talk about everything. She'd give me her words of wisdom, stuff like that. And then I ended up getting into therapy because of my whole situation. I had an interview, yada yada, got in therapy. Met my lovely therapist that I have today. She's amazing, love her dearly. And we really made a lot of progress, even on the first session. So I was just like, okay, this is going. This is going. Then I'm sorry, I'm thinking, like, my stories are just all over the place now. Then some time goes by. I had joined the church school, you know. That was a whole another thing, because I grew up kind of raising myself, but having people raise me at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. It was just a lot. So my dynamics with people and telling me what to do, just I had a lot of attitude. I still do a little bit, but it's gotten a lot better. But I had a lot of attitude, so it was just, everything was not going good together. And it was just a lot. I got suspended like once. I think I've only been suspended once in church school, but I got suspended because, you know, of stuff I was doing that I had no business doing, of course. And that became its own little thing. And then after a while, you know, it's just a repeat. I can't even lie to you. Like, for a good sum of time, it was just a repeated cycle of me doing the same things over and over again, and people getting tired of it. I ended up leaving church for a while in 9th grade. Yeah, in 9th grade, I ended up leaving church for a while because there's some stuff, and I left. I started doing my own little thing again, and started going back to public school. And I just, like, it made me realize, like, I hate public school. That's not for me. I just don't like the conversations and how everything was centered. I loved choir, though. Choir was my favorite. I loved it. But time goes by, yada yada yada. Hold on. So I ended up getting back into church because I was just like, yeah, the world is not for me. So I'm back in church, and things are going a lot better, a lot smoother, until I hit another rough patch. I go through my depression again. I go through my rebellious stage again, and then everything just crumbles. I start skipping school. I start skipping church services. I'm pretending to be sick. I'm going over to my friend's house for days on end, not contacting anybody, not talking, not even my aunt. I wouldn't even text or call my aunt. I was just staying out of contact with everybody, just was getting high, vaping, stuff like that, trying to numb the pain that only God can feel. And it just, like, it really was messing me up. Like, and then when I'd go to church, I'd have these talks with my pastor and first lady, and it was just, my pastor would really give me reality checks. That's one thing I love about my pastor. He does not care. He will check you, and I love that, because that's his job. Thank you. And I appreciate that, because I wouldn't have grown if it wasn't for that, and him keeping it real and 100 with me. And, you know, he's just giving me reality checks, and I'm like, you're right. And so I'm like, I start thinking, like, why am I struggling? Why do I continuously put myself through this? You know, because it's 2026. In December, I had a suicide. I was supposed to say that I had an attempt that was almost successful. I had sent my letters of goodbyes to the people I wanted to send my letters of goodbyes to, and I was trying to take my life. And but I had stopped responding to my first lady and Pammy and all that stuff, and they did a wellness check on me, and I was not responding, and the police had to break down the door, and they found me unconscious in my bed. And they get off my neck and put me on a stretcher, send me to the hospital. From the hospital, I stayed there for a couple of hours, and they send me on my way to another mental hospital. It was a different one than I went to last time. I actually liked that one quite more. Had my phone calls and all that good stuff. I mean, it was met people in there, but I was really just focusing on myself, trying to focus on getting better. I don't know, it's like after you attempt, everything in your life becomes better. Like you just become this glee, happy person. Like I was waking up in the morning doing cartwheels. I don't know. Then some time goes by, still doing my thing. March rolls around, and I'm still in that headspace where I'm like, the first time they were like, do you want to be put on medication? I told them no. When I went back in March, because I actually asked to be admitted back into, because I felt like that's what I needed to do for me, or else I was going to attempt again. So I get back in there, and I'm like, let me actually try. So I'm talking about stuff with the therapist there, they put me on meds, I'm getting my meds, yada yada. And it's just, I finally end up going home. I'm telling you, when you leave out of a mental hospital, like for the first time, in like 5 days, it feels like you coming out of prison. I promise you. You have no contact with the outside world at all whatsoever. Well, except for phone calls. You get 2 phone calls a day. But it's up to that person that you're trying to call if they answer or not. But I ended up getting a concussion in there too. There was just so much. But it's March. I'm like, okay, just do what you need to do. Get on your grind. You see the life that so many people around you live. That's not the life you want. So you need to get it together. I'm just talking to myself. So that's what I started doing. And I do a complete 180. I mean, I got a job and all. I got me a job and all. I was doing the thing. But yeah. And the journey still continues. Everything still awaits. I'm still trying. We're going to continue to grow and become the person in God that we know we are meant and intended to be. And I hope you do too. And I hope you follow me along on my journey, and I get to help you along with yours too. We're going to go through this journey together. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed or understood a little more. I don't know, maybe we'll talk more about it later and get a little more depth to it in later videos. I just didn't want to be too much for the first video, but it's a long outro. Thank you for watching. Please, if you enjoyed, if you want to hear more, if you want to see where this journey is going to go, hit that subscribe button, press that like button, and I will see you in the next video.